The Committee on International Relations and Economic Development will now come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Button.
Here.
Ordaz.
Present.
Bumgarner.
Here.
Clardy.
Present.
Hayes.
Here.
Mesa.
Present.
Morales. Placia.
Here.
Shine.
Here.
A quorum is present. Okay, hold on.
Alright, we're gonna start here. Sorry. Here are boards to vote.
Good morning, everyone. The chair, let's work on some pending business. The chair lays out HB 2389 as pending business. Members, you will remember this bill by Representative Sean relating to companies in which employees have ownership interests through employee stock ownership plan. The chair offers a committee substitute to HB 2389. Is there any objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the substitute is adopted. Representative Meza moves that HB 2389 as substituted be reported to the full House with the recommendation that it do pass and be printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Button.
Aye.
Ordaz.
Aye.
Bumgarner.
Aye.
Clardy.
This is Shineville.
Mm.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Mesa.
Aye.
Morales. Placia.
Aye.
Shine.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you, Rep. Shaw.
Who's not here?
Thank you.
Representative
Madam
Morales
Chair.
is in
Oh,
here.
yeah. There being 8 ayes and 0 nays, the motion prevails. The chair lays out HB 2459 as pending business. Members, you remember this bill by Representative Vo relating to the administration of violations and administrative penalties of the employment of children. Representative Hayes moves that HB 2459 without amendments be reported to the full House with the recommendation that it do pass and be printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Button.
Aye.
Ordaz.
Aye.
Bumgarner.
Aye.
Clardy.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Mesa.
Aye.
Morales. Placia.
Aye.
Shine.
Aye.
There being 8 ayes and 0 nays, motion prevails. The chair lays out HB 2575 as pending business. Members, you remember my bill relating to the workforce diploma pilot program. The chair offers a committee substitute to HB 2575. Is there any objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the substitute is adopted. Representative Chairwoman Ordaz moves that HB 2575 as substituted be printed to the full House with the recommendation that it do pass and be printed and be sent to the Committee on Local Consent Calendar. The clerk will call the roll.
Button.
Aye.
Ordaz.
Aye.
Bumgarner.
Aye.
Clardy.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Mesa.
Aye.
Morales. Placia.
Aye.
Shine.
Aye.
There being 8 ayes and 0 nays, the motion prevails. The chair moves to reconsider the vote by which HB 1755 was previously reported from the committee. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion prevails. The chair moves to reconsider the votes by which the substitute to HB 1755 was adopted. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion prevails. The committee substitute to HB 1755 is withdrawn.
All right, you might want to say that this is your bill.
Members, you remember my bill HB 1755 is now before us again. The chair offers a new corrected committee substitute to HB 1755. Is there any objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the substitute is adopted. Representative Plaza moves that HB 1755 as substituted be reported to the full House with the recommendation that is to pass and be printed. Clerk will call the roll.
Button,
Aye.
Ordaz. Baumgartner.
Aye.
Clardy.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Mesa.
Aye.
Morales. Plisha. Shine.
Aye.
There being 8 ayes and 0 nays, the motion prevails.
Okay. All right, we're gonna start with you and Representative Dutton's bill. Excellent.
Let the record reflect Representative Morales is here.
I'm gonna make that one first.
Good morning. The chair lays out HB 4411 and offers a committee substitute. The chair recognizes Chairman Dutton to explain the bill.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Thank you for hearing House Bill 4411. This bill would build on the successes of Senate Bill 1524, which we passed during the last session. Current law requires that all apprenticeship programs have to be registered with the U.S. Department of Labor. Unfortunately, the federal regulations that come with the registering of this program the department can dissuade employers from creating or engaging in registered apprenticeships. And so what this bill does is this bill will allow Texas to join the plethora of states that create pathways for alternative apprenticeships. And I could go on and on and on, but rather than do that, they have some people from the Workforce Commission that can tell you more about this than I can. But I'll be happy to answer any questions that you or the members may have.
Members, any questions? Okay, we'll call you back up in a minute.
Thank you.
Okay, the chair calls Christina Etry. Good morning. So we show you registered as Christina Etry, testify on behalf of the Scholar Shot
Yes.
and yourself,
Yes,
and that you are for the bill.
yes.
Okay, you may begin.
I have copies.
You can go ahead and pass it over there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All righty. So Madam Chair and committee members, my name is Christina Etry. I'm a former educator, having taught most recently in high school, college, and career readiness. I'm also a former fellow with Teach Plus Texas, and I'm now the Director of Institutional Improvement for Scholar Shot, which is a post-secondary degree completion program in Dallas with a 90% credential completion rate for first-generation and low-income students. According to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, our ability to transfer Texas high school students from a diploma to a sustainable wage has declined over the last decade. In 2019, only 46% of all high school Texas students attempted a post-secondary credential, and only 26% succeeded, essentially 1 in 4 students. In larger urban districts, the current credential rate is 1 out of 5. Texas has over 1 million unfilled jobs because our students lack the necessary skills or credentials to fill them. 74% of students who fail to earn a post-secondary credential represent a $40 billion year loss in Texas investment in poverty wages or low employability. Apprenticeship training programs culminating in attaining industry-recognized certifications, licenses, or associate or bachelor's degrees will lead Texas students to high-wage, high-demand jobs, closing the current career gap. Every high school graduate or adult must have a pathway to obtain a sustainable wage that fits them academically and financially to maximize their odds of success. A robust apprentice training program throughout the state provides a clear path to career readiness and employability. We can improve the outcomes for all Texas students by funding and implementing House Bill 4411. Our great state can and must do better, and Scholarshot is happy to assist in this effort or answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Etri. Members, any question for the witness? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the chair calls Jorge Borrego. Good morning. We show you registered as Jorge Borrego on behalf of the Texas Public Policy Foundation and that you are for the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, you can proceed. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairwoman and members. I am Jorge Borrego, the post-secondary policy analyst for Next Generation Texas at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, and I am testifying in support of HB 4411. The Texas Public Policy Foundation recently conducted research examining the state of career and technical education, and what we found were large gaps between workforce needs and programs that align with those needs across multiple sectors. We've heard about the skills gap throughout the state, but the gap is particularly striking in the skilled trade. As our booming economy continues to attract more residents and businesses from across the country, this gap will only worsen. In the past, one solution that brought new blood into the skilled trades was apprenticeships. However, current statute requires that all apprenticeships be registered with the U.S. Department of Labor, and this has led to apprenticeships becoming encumbered with a host of federal regulations. These regulations can dissuade employers from creating or engaging in registered apprenticeships. This helps explain why in 2021 there were fewer than 2,700 apprenticeship completers in Texas. This scarcity of work-based learning opportunities deprives Texas of life-changing experiences. HB 4411 seeks to close our workforce gap by granting the Texas Workforce Commission the authority to certify or approve industry-recognized apprenticeships. This bill does not prevent state funds from flowing to registered apprenticeships. It merely creates an alternative category. I ask that you support HB 4411 in this committee. Thank you for your time, and I will gladly yield for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Borrego. Members, any questions for the witness? Thank you. The chair calls Joseph Bowie. Good morning. So we show you registered as Joseph Bowie,
Yes, ma'am.
testifying on behalf of yourself,
Yes, ma'am.
and that you are against the bill.
Correct.
Okay, you can proceed. Thank you.
Chair Button, Vice Chair Northeast, and the committee members, my name is Joseph Bowie, and I'm here as the Operation Manager for Beard Integrated System. Our company employs over 500 folks in the state of Texas. We have union, non-union employees both perform work across the state of Texas. I'm here to testify against HB 411. Excuse me, sorry, I just walked in. I understand Representative Button foresight on creating the new pathways into apprenticeship, but I also see a few holes. I would like to point out. One, my understanding is that the bill would create procedures and standards for which the program to be administered, but the Oversight Committee would exclude any members who are representing occupations certified by the Office of Apprenticeship. The Austin JATC, in which I teach, would be one of the placement programs that would be pre-apprentices would funnel into. Why would we exclude from the rulemaking committee if we are one of the end goals of the program? Currently, the North American Building Trades Council operates two of the largest pre-apprentice programs in high schools, one in California and one in Florida. One of these programs, the MC3 program, is run and operated here in Austin, Texas. We also at Beard Integrated System regularly recruit new apprentices from this program. I am against the bill and ask the committee to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowie. Members, any question for the witness? Representative Mesa.
So, from your testimony then, you feel like that this bill excludes labor unions in their apprenticeship programs?
Yes, ma'am.
In what way again? If you could elaborate a little bit more on it.
So part of what the understanding that I have is that it excludes part of the DOL programs, which we are a part of.
It excludes some DOL programs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then on the Oversight Committee, majority are employers, it looks like. So how many workers' voices are on the oversight committee?
On the explain, I may not understand the question.
Okay, maybe it's a question I should be asking Mr. Chairman Dutton, but are there workers' voices on the oversight committee? Are
Yes,
you
ma'am,
familiar with
I'm
that
not
part?
sure on that one.
That's okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative.
Have you had an opportunity to speak to the author about your concerns?
I have not at this moment.
Would you consider?
I would definitely,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Bowie. The chair calls J.D. Hale. Good morning.
Morning.
Show you registered as J.D. Hale, testifying on behalf of the Texas Association of Builders, and that you are for the bill.
Yes, ma'am.
You may proceed.
J.D. Hale, Texas Association of Builders, here in support of House Bill 4411. As many of you know, Texas Association of Builders, about 10,000 members representing the residential construction industry across the state. One of the issues we talk about every session, housing affordability. We are constantly reminded that our industry is facing a severe labor shortage. Just a real quick number. In 2009, we had more Texans employed by the residential construction industry than ever before in the history of our state. Those numbers plummeted, as you know, because of the housing crash and bottomed out in year 2012. Then we began a slow incline back up to where we are. And just last year, we finally hit the same numbers we had in 2009. But we have 6 million more Texans living in the state. So you can understand what that kind of shortage provides for our industry. The labor costs are affecting affordability, and we're having a hard time finding these skilled trades. And so it's kind of sad that the people who are building the homes can't even afford the homes they're living in. And so we're working on session after session, anything related to getting skilled trades, more skilled trades into the workforce is a priority for our association. Last fall, the industry-based certification, which TEA oversees, we finally got, for the first time in the history of the state, residential construction programs approved. This bill, in conjunction with that list, will now give our members an opportunity to offer apprenticeships to high school students, which we've never had that opportunity before. One of the things that we really like about the opportunity to offer apprenticeships is there's a sense of pride that a student has whenever they tell someone they have an apprenticeship. And then anyone who hears that word knows that that student is working towards something. And so you have folks that are proud of the student, and the student's proud to tell everyone. And so I will just close my remarks there, and thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, J.D. Members, Representative Shine.
Sir, so in this apprenticeship type relationship, this is all directly involved with the individual, the student, and a local business. It's actually OJT on the spot. We're not talking about a Zoom opportunity or anything like that at all. We're actually talking about hands-on stuff.
Yes, sir. So all of the certificate programs that we got approved at TEA, those are the first step in getting a larger certification that the state oversees or an industry oversees. And so in order to get that next certification, like a plumber, for example, or an electrician, they have to have a number of contact hours. And with that certificate through the high school programs, they can walk into the plumber's offices, show them that certificate, and that will get them on the path to earning their master plumber's license. And so we have to have those contact hours, and anything we can do to incentivize businesses to take those students in and give them that opportunity, especially in the high school age, whenever students are still trying to figure out what they want to do for a living.
Are you fully engaged as an association across the state in CTRE programs at schools?
I don't know the answer to that, Representative. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the acronym CTRE stands for.
Just the community training that they have in the schools, vocational type programs that they have in the schools.
Our members, we have 26 local chapters across the state. Every single one of them has contact with the school districts, their administration, constantly working to make sure that some type of relationship exists there. I'm not sure if it's specifically with the CTRE program, but I know that it is a priority of every one of our local associations to work the workforce.
But everything you do is, what you do is all hands-on,
Yes, sir, absolutely.
not remote, not.
No, sir. It was the biggest trouble the pandemic presented for our industry was when many of the higher ed institutions and also the school districts were shut down and went virtual. Any program that our industry would want to be engaged with is a very hands-on program.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Morales.
Hi, thank you so much for allowing me to ask a question. I have actually one of these programs in my district at Milby High School in Houston, Texas, and it's very transformational for many of those students who graduate and then start or have these opportunities with these types of jobs. But what about the North America's Building Trades Union also running these pre-apprenticeship programs? And would this exclude those programs?
I'm not familiar with those programs. Our certification program is associated with the Home Builders Institute, which is a national organization that was created in conjunction with the National Association of Home Builders. And one of the things that I think our program that makes us very unique, Representative Shine in his backyard, Representative Ordaz in her backyard with the military installations, we offer this program already for servicemen and women who are in the process of transitioning out of service, and they don't spend one dime of their GI money to get these certifications, which makes us very unique. I know we're here talking about high school students, but I do think that's important to point out how we are different than any of the other organizations that we're working with. Again, I'll also touch on the fact that we have never had a residential construction program ever approved by TEA, specifically to residential construction. And so I think that's what makes us a little unique. And I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that North American program that you mentioned.
Thank you, members. Any other questions? Thank you, JD. The chair calls Thomas Kennedy. Good morning. We show you registered as Thomas Kennedy on behalf of the Texas Building Trades, and we show you are against the bill.
Unfortunately.
Okay, we'll proceed. Thank you.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Thomas Kennedy. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas State Building Trades. I'm also an instructor at a JATC, which is a joint apprenticeship training facility, and also an instructor for the National North American Building Trades MC3 program. We currently operate the MC3 program in 4 different cities in Texas, and we're currently working with TEA on getting our programs instituted in some of the high schools. That being said, I really commend Representative Dutton for bringing forth this legislation and seeing that there is a need for expanded skilled trades, especially in our high schools. But my issue with the bill currently is with the board that would be established at TWC. By excluding memberships of any bargaining organization representing acceptable occupations certified by the Office of Apprenticeship would exclude a lot of my members from being able to participate and add our voice and our expertise towards this. We represent more of the industrial and the commercial side as opposed to the residential side, but there is a need for both, and these programs funnel into both. With that, I open up to any questions, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. And have you had an opportunity to meet with Chairman Dutton?
We met with his office,
Okay.
yes, and we've discussed some of the issues with the bill.
Okay.
The author, I believe the authors, and I can't speak to the author, but I believe what the problem is that they're not excluding, but they're not including is what their perception of the bill is. Our perception of the bill is that it's specifically excluding members from a certain section of the industry from this board.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for the witness? Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
The chair calls Mike Maroney. Good morning. We show you registered as Mike Maroney on behalf of the Texas Association of Manufacturers, and you are for the bill.
That's correct. Mike Maroney, on behalf of the Texas Association of Manufacturers, in strong support of House Bill 4411. The reason why we're weighing in on this bill is because we need more skilled training. We need more pathways to do so. We need more industry-recognized apprenticeship programs. And when the Biden administration rescinded this rule back when Biden first came into office, it really set us back. The registered apprenticeship program with the Department of Labor is a fine program, and I don't have anything bad to say about it. But I think last year there were only 25,000 students in a registered apprenticeship program, and they only had 2,300 completers. It's a drop in the bucket. We need more apprentices. We need more industry-recognized apprentices, and I'll be glad to answer questions.
I don't see any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
That's it.
Okay. So is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against House Bill 4411?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot our resource
Okay,
witness.
we have one resource witness.
Sorry about that.
The chair calls Carrie last, and I apologize. So we show you as Carrie
Ballas.
Ballas.
Yes.
Okay, testifying on behalf of the Texas Workforce Commission, and that you are neutral on the bill. You're on
Yes, ma'am.
as a
Yes,
resource
ma'am.
witness.
Here to answer any questions you may have.
Members? Yes, Representative Fleisha.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I have a quick question. On page 5 of the bill, line 13, it says criteria generally consistent with the standards of apprenticeship as determined by the commission. Can you explain what generally consistent means and how that's would fit into this bill?
Yes, ma'am. If you were to look at Department of Labor's definition of what makes an occupation apprenticeable, this bill brings forward the same standards. And by doing that, the commission would be taking the same things into consideration in developing apprenticeship programs here to Texas.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
The chair calls Leonard Aguilar. We show you registered as Leonard Aguilar, testifying as yourself.
With the Texas AFL against the bill.
Okay, with the Texas
AFL-CIO.
Do we need him to?
If you'll say that he gives us permission to add AFL-CIO to his registration, we are good.
Okay, can we add a Texas AFL-CIO on, as you registered, because you only registered as yourself, so we
Yes,
just want to
ma'am,
make sure
I-
the record's clear.
Please,
Okay,
if you would, I'd appreciate it.
and you're against the bill?
Against the bill.
Okay, proceed.
I appreciate it. And again, thank you very much for taking the time. My name's Leonard Aguilar. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Texas AFL-CIO, and I come from the construction industry, but this is bigger than the construction industry from the gentleman that you heard previous. There's a lot of industries that are affected by this, but it seems like the focus has been on construction today. And unfortunately, right now, Chair Dutton, we are against 4411, but we are willing to work, and hopefully we can work. A couple of the issues that we have, and they might have been addressed, or there was talk about them being addressed, we're not sure. But of the Chapter 133 funding that is in the bill itself, that's something that we are concerned about because we are opening up that bucket or that piggy bank for another program that we're not quite sure, called this Industry Recognized, that do not have specific standards, I guess, in place. I'm not advised on how those are created, but we know how a DOL program works and we know what's in place for those. The other concern that we had that you've heard also is TEA Higher Ed coming together to create this and to be able to work on this. But again, we're already in this space with our joint apprenticeship training committees, and many of you have been to our different facilities across the state of Texas. You know, curious on how we can get to that table as well to be part of that decision-making process, if that is possible. Again, the question that was asked, the criteria generally is big. It leaves it open and is vague. You know, IRAPs have been, they were removed for a reason. They were a watered-down program. And it's something that can be worked on. It's something that we can raise standards with. We can help work to raise standards and to make sure, because when we're talking about high school students like this is for, high school students are going to be vulnerable. They're not going to know exactly what to do. They're not going to know how to get the job done. They're going to be taught, and we need to teach them the proper way. And those DOL standards that are in place now are going to teach the proper way how to get this done. They have been a proven factor. They have been a proven model, and it's been a win-win for those contractors that utilize them and work with them. Again, the issue of why we're excluded is a question. And again, there's been something that's said about we do not have enough people now. Well, if we don't have enough now with the DOL program, how are we going to have enough now if we exclude the way we read the bill to be DOL and only just replace it with an IRAP? We're still only having one program in place. How are we still going to have enough? That's another question that we have. Specific to the high school portion of the thing, the apprenticeship readiness program, to the point of the National Building Trades Union, I was fortunate enough to help get that established here in the state of Texas. We have a program here in Austin. We have a program here in Houston. We have a program in El Paso. We have a program in, I should write better here when I'm putting my chicken scratch down, and Waco as well, and San Antonio. We have held these classes. These are classes that, again, the gentleman that was speaking on these high school students when they're there, it's a sense of pride. When you go to these graduations and you see these folks, and these classes were done in the adult reeducation side of things, but the NAB2 program, the North American Building Trades Union, and we don't want to make it a union, non-union issue, but these programs do change lives. And the pre-apprenticeship program that we have, the Apprenticeship Readiness Program, MC3, does change lives. It's already here. We can utilize it, and why don't we utilize it is my question. Again, we have a couple of high schools that are already engaged with it. Del Valley here in the Austin area is engaged, and also Austin Independent School District. TEA is kind of an issue, and they're hard to deal with sometimes, just like any state agency. There are always problems and questions. Roughly 5 to 6 years ago, we were at the table with TEA trying to get our apprenticeship readiness program accepted or recognized, which we were never able to do. We're just asking for an opportunity to have our proven product, our proven training programs that is not only for just our union programs, but like the one contractor that spoke earlier, it's for our communities. We are the communities. We are it's our students, it's our nieces and nephews and grandkids and such. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. Representative Shine.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. So I'm hearing you have programs.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like this program would be in competition with the programs you currently have in place?
Right now, yes, sir, I do.
Okay, can you give me, kind of explain what you feel, what you think that competition really is?
Well, as it's written, as far as we are taking it as an exclusion of, because we are under that DOL. Our apprenticeship programs and our contractors that are partnered to get this done. It's not just our apprenticeship programs independently. We do this in a joint effort with our contractor base. Then we go through this. It would, the way we are seeing it, exclude us because we are under that Department of Labor. That is what we choose. That is how we go.
It doesn't prevent you from continuing to do that.
Sir?
It doesn't prevent you from continuing to do what you're doing.
I do not understand it at that level. I'm just a construction worker by trade. That's what I am reading it the way I am reading it. If it doesn't and we can have that clarified, that would be great. The other thing is just the funding.
I just see this as an additional opportunity to reach out with another method of, because vocational training, in my opinion, is an extraordinary need that we have across the state of Texas.
Without a doubt.
Hurricane Harvey hit, and I went across the coast with a committee that I was on and looked at, and then we dealt with the problems of construction workers, plumbers, electricians, and just on and on and on with the problems that were there. My position would be, man, let's just broaden this, and let's offer these kids in high school as many opportunities. I grew up in a rural school, and we had all kinds of programs that allowed kids who fewer than 1/3 or 26% here on this that graduate from high school. Not everybody's cut out to go to a 4-year school, and quite frankly, if you're a welder or if you're in some particular vocational trades, you can make a hell of a lot
You
more
make a lot
money
more money.
than you can get in a four-year degree in
Yes,
some,
sir.
in some particular areas as well. And so what I see this is just a broadening of the opportunity for more vocational opportunities for these kids. So as I listen to your testimony, I kind of get the impression that maybe we're trying to protect a particular turf, so to speak, of what you're already doing, and maybe we don't want to enhance competition in that particular area.
But no, sir. We are all about opening the opportunity. Not everybody is cut out for a 4-year. Definitely agree with that. And working with your hands, going to work 8 hours, a 8-hour day for 8 hours worth of pay is the way I was brought up. You go to work in the morning, but the thing is, we want to make sure we're being taught properly how to do that. And that is something.
Engaged with the author of the bill?
We actually stopped by yesterday. Yesterday, we were able to stop by. We were late with it, and that's why we opened up with, unfortunately, we are against it. But referencing your comment about the coast and Harvey, you and I actually spoke at that first meeting in Brownsville, Texas, as we went up the coast. And we were offering our pre-apprenticeship program at that point, and we were not allowed, not by the state of Texas, but different governmental entities, I guess you could say, and I'm not going to point fingers at anybody specifically, but in that conversation from that one of those first meetings in Brownsville, you and I talked that evening, and we talked about, and I brought to you the opportunity of this stuff being the pre-apprenticeship training or just training in the trade specifically for the rebuilding effort. And that's what we are always here to do. We are always here to help, always here to engage, always trying to offer another opportunity, another avenue. We are just asking to not be excluded. And if that is not the case, if we are not excluded.
I don't think you're being excluded. I think you may have some competition.
That'd be great. Competition brings out the best in everyone.
I think about from my military service where as a young officer with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that came in and learned a vocation, being in the motor pool with a mechanic, on turbine engines or at first something. And then after their 2 years or 4 years or whatever, got out and used their GI Bill and went back and either got vocational training or higher education and really made a great life for themselves. So I fully support the enhancement of vocational training, and I would encourage you to dig in, drill down to make sure you're not excluded.
For sure.
And if it's possible, if that's there, then maybe we need to think about how we make sure you're not excluded, because as far as I'm concerned, as many opportunities that we can offer those kids out there for vocational training, I think is a responsibility we have, because just like this piece right here, not everybody goes to a 4-year university, but if they don't, they should at least have the opportunity for the vocational so they can have a great future in their life and a good quality of life and make a decent income to be, good part of our society. So thank you for your testimony.
Yes, sir. Totally agree with you. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Members, any other questions? Thank you, Leonard. Representative Misha.
Well, it was Mesa and Plessa, so now I want to continue rhyming with her, my colleague. So I respect her that much. So there's a phrase in the bill, Chairman Dutton, that says, and I know you're not up here, but I want to be sure, it says that for the committee with oversight, any bargaining agent representing apprenticeable occupations certified by the Office of Apprenticeship or recognized by the committee by rule. That's a tough enough to read, and I'm not sure I really even understand what all that phrase means, but I'm getting the feeling that it seems that you feel like it excludes labor unions and their apprenticeship programs. It says representing apprenticeable occupations certified by the Office of Apprenticeship. And your programs are registered with DOL.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they considered certified by the Office of Apprenticeship? Is that the problem?
I labeled out or called out a few of the problems. That is one of the problems, I believe. And again, it's just, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to read this stuff. Like I said at the beginning, I'm just a construction worker by trade, trying to just speak for workers that don't have that opportunity, and I have the opportunity to do that. If we can understand that better, that would be great. I can't answer the question. I'm not advised right now. Do not know the answer to that, to be clear.
Well, I'm an attorney, and I still don't understand the sentence because I don't know about the Office of Apprenticeship. What is that under? Do you know?
The DOL, I believe.
It's
yes.
under DOL?
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe
But a
it's
lot of your
DOL.
programs are DOL registered apprenticeship programs.
Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs, yes, which is the standard that's in place now. which doesn't exclude anybody for doing it, which I guess kind of leads back to the issue that we've heard, is that it is causing employers to do a couple of extra steps to make sure that they reach that DOL gold standard level that a lot of people have agreed upon. I don't know how many decades it has been in place, and but it is there to make sure that we have good working conditions. It is there to make sure that we have good, fair pay, that men and women, everybody across the board gets paid equally. It's there to make sure that we have incremental raises happening with working with the hours that are being worked, that these pay raises are coming at the same time. So yes, ma'am, that is what we are under, is making sure that everybody is fair, treated fairly and equal, I guess you could say at that point. Which I'm not saying that the IRAPs, if it does happen, will not. But this is something that we are just concerned about. And we want to make sure, and back to Representative Shine's comment, is just opening up the opportunity, being able to be part of it still moving forward, and that's what we're hoping we can do.
So we can all be for this program if we can be somewhat assured that it doesn't exclude labor unions and their apprenticeship programs.
We are looking forward to being able to talk further with and get to something that we can agree upon.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hayes.
Thank you for coming today.
Yes, sir, thank you.
It seems to me we made a mistake here in the state of Texas. You know, when I was in high school, we had every kind of vocational program under the sun. We took auto mechanics, body shop, electronics, wood shop. There was just a host, and you took them as electives.
Mm-hmm.
About 20 years ago, I served on the Board of Regents of Texas Women's University, and at that time, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board total focus was everybody goes to college. And I think we're seeing some of the kickback now from that focus on everybody getting a college degree. So it seems to me, before I make that, how long has your program been in effect?
Which, the registered apprenticeship portion or the pre-apprenticeship portion?
Well, you can talk to us about both of those.
The pre-apprenticeship has been around for roughly, guesstimating 15 years, not here in the state of Texas, but in its existence as a whole.
Let's say in Texas.
We were able to get established roughly 6 years ago, I believe.
Okay, and then on your apprenticeship program?
Each one is different in the different local, in the local jurisdiction, the local area. I would have to get back to you if I can. I mean, it's 53, 63, or a couple of the years that pop into my head. I can get you a list of that, if that's okay.
Well, I was hopeful that it had been a while, because it's such an important program. And I heard a number earlier that only about 2,700 people last year went through, I guess, the program that's currently Department of Labor. And considering the size of our state, I think that is compounded why we have such a skilled labor shortage. Is what I think we're all in agreement on that. We have a skilled labor shortage. So my question is, when I was in school, our programs didn't have labor unions involved. And my wife was a CATE instructor in the medical field, was her area. Anybody want to be a pharmacist, a dentist, a veterinarian, a doctor, a nurse, whatever. And lots of people ended with certificates in the public school as a pharmacy tech or radiology tech or something like that. So I understand the benefit of obtaining those certifications. But I don't see why your program and Chairman Dutton's program would be mutually exclusive. I'm going to go back to what Representative Shine said, seems like there's lots of need, and there are many ways we can approach a need. And one very important way is through the union model, but another can be through either public schools, or another can be this apprenticeship program. There are many ways to get there, to provide education and training to individuals. So I'm not understanding why it would be mutually exclusive. That is, it can only exist if there is a labor union involvement.
We're just wanting we do not want it to just end up as a mutually exclusive is the biggest concern that we have. And to your point of saying that there are the union programs, Yes, they are union programs, but like I was telling everybody earlier, these are our joint apprenticeship training committee programs. These are comprised of sitting at the table where we have Mr. Bowie that was up here as a contractor. He was a product of the apprenticeship program, went through the apprenticeship, worked in the field, worked in the trade, moved up in the ranks, and became a contractor. So they are not just a union program, it is with our contractor base and our local apprenticeship training associations that come together to come up with these programs. And to be more specific of the pre-apprenticeship program, that is created in part with the different trades specifically so we can train this future workforce that we need. Because you're right, 20 years ago you said is that we went away from this, and now we're as we say, we're in a bind. We're in trouble because of it, and we need to get back to that and focus that. And again, back to Representative Shine's point is I totally agree. I mean, we need to have more opportunities, and we just want to be an avenue. We want to be part of this conversation. We want to be in this mix when this is all said and done. We don't want to be excluded. We don't want to exclude. We just want to be there as well.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but you're there right now. This is an additional program. No one is taking away your program. What we know with whatever existing structure we have in place, either in public school or through a union, we're doing a very poor job if only 2,700 people obtained, certification last year. So we have to do more. And I just see this as another opportunity to do more. And I don't see it as hurting, your existing programs, because it's a wonderful program.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that's my point.
No, and if I can, just really quick, you had said that we are struggling or we are hurting or we're not doing a good job. On that, I'd have to push back a little bit. With all due respect, it's all down to numbers, and everything is about the numbers and the retention rate. If we can get our contractors and get these newly trained workers to stay with these contractors, that's going to help these contractors succeed, because they're going to have that workforce that has been trained and that they know that they can count on. They have been vetted. Basically, they have gone through this pre-apprenticeship training, and with our program, that is the numbers that we have are roughly 70 to 76% retention rate. So they finish this pre-apprenticeship program and they go directly to work for Mr. Bowie at Beard Mechanical and any other contractor that we partner with. So having a retention rate of 70+% is a pretty good number, I would say, and doing that. Now, as far as what the other training programs offer, I don't know what, you would have to ask them what their retention rate is and how they do that, or if they even have one. I don't know if they have any numbers to actually back it up right now. But that's what we have at this point, roughly across what we are able to accomplish in the pre-apprenticeship field. Just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close with Representative Bumgarner.
You made the comment that about the union apprentices program. Do you actually have to join the union to participate in those programs?
Do you have to join the union to work for the contractors? It's a joint partnership. If it's going to be done we're doing it across the country, and I'm saying we as the National Building Trades, and that's who I'm still a member of also, and that. But it's being done in middle schools, it's being done in high schools, it's being done at community college with this ARP MC3 model that the representative was referencing earlier. It is being done through there. We cannot force anybody to join a union if it's being done out of the community college or if it's being done out of the high school. We are just offering at that point, it is being offered as a tool, I guess. Another tool in the toolbox that we always reference is just another opportunity. We can't force anybody to join a union. This is Texas.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you for your insight and advocacy. We appreciate it. Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against House Bill 4411? Seeing none, the chair recognizes Chairman Dutton to close on the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members. I had a law professor once who said, if you listen close enough, you'll hear what people didn't say. I don't think most of them read either the bill or the committee substitute. This bill does not exclude anybody from anything. What it does is there's a pathway now to apprenticeships. It's only through the Department of Labor. What this bill does is creates an additional pathway so that we could have alternative apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. That's essentially all it does. And if they'd like to come and talk to me, I'll be glad to point out to them where the boogeymans aren't, because there are none in this bill. So anyway, I leave it to this committee. I didn't know it was going to take this long. I didn't know there would be so many people in opposition to it. But I look forward to working with them and working with you all to see if we can improve the whole apprenticeship program. 2,700 people. Come on, we can do better, and we should.
Thank you, Chairman. Representative Shine.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the bill. I think you're on target, and I think whatever discussion we had that was related to opposition, I think was clarified with the questions that were asked to point out that nobody's being excluded, and we're trying to enhance the program. We're trying to reach more young kids out there in their early stages to help them develop their career, and I think you got a good bill, and I appreciate you bringing it to us.
Thank you.
Representative Felicia.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and thank you so much, Chairman Dutton, for this. And I completely agree with the intent of the bill. I just want to point out that on page 3, line 26, it does say excludes from its membership any bargaining agent. So the bill does say excludes.
But it allows the Texas Workforce Commission to, by rule, set what all the parameters are.
I understand, and I completely agree with the intent, and I definitely want to make sure that we get.
And if that needs to be more definitive in terms of where this program and who this program includes, I'll be happy to do that, because our intent was not to exclude anybody. It was simply to create, again, another pathway.
I really appreciate you saying that, and I would love to see, maybe we can change that word excludes to something else.
Well, we might have to change it in 2 places in that section where that gives the Texas Workforce Commission the authority to do it. So
I'd appreciate that, Chairman. Thank you so much for taking
Thank you,
my
Chairman.
question.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you, ma'am.
the substitute is withdrawn, and House Bill 4411 will be left pending at this time. The chair lays out House Bill 2644 and offers a committee substitute. The chair recognizes Dean Craddock to explain the bill.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, thank you very much for hearing this bill this morning. As you all are aware, during COVID-19,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We just want to clarify that we do have the committee substitute
Right, I thought
from you all. We do? Okay.
I think that the committee substitute had a problem. We sent it
Okay,
back changed.
that's fine. So for the record, we're just going to just lay out House Bill 2644 without a committee.
There is going to be a committee substitute, and we're working on it. And there's another bill by the chairman also that does a lot of the similar things, and we've been talking, and the people who are working on both bills. I think you'll have a combined substitute.
No problem. Thank you, Speaker.
I think there were mistakes in the substitute.
Okay.
Okay?
You go ahead.
Okay, thank you for recognizing that. As you are aware, during COVID-19, many businesses restored to offset or hybrid arrangements that to this day are still in place due to the new norm it has posed on our societies. Due to businesses maintaining and continuing this offsite or hybrid workforce, there are changes that need to be made in the Texas Enterprise Zone program to ensure that the purpose of this program is utilized to its fullest extent. The Texas Enterprise Program is a tool that communities, especially those who are economically affected, and utilize to restore and boost job creation and encourage capital investment. So what this bill does is pretty simple. It just would change the definition of qualified employee to allow flexibility to those who work off-site or hybrid, and would update the Enterprise Zone program to today's new norms. Those who choose to continue to work off-site, which a lot of people are doing, or in our area there are a whole bunch doing it, or hybrid, will be able to continue to utilize this program, the Enterprise program. And it make it more attainable to satisfy the program requirements where you can work at home or wherever. And to clarify the regulatory distance for residents for the program, that being 50 miles from a qualified business site is what it does. It allows Texas to adjust the post-pandemic to properly carry out the use of the Texas Enterprise Program. And the substitute is a result of a negotiation between the two groups. And I think what they need to do, I'm just the carrier of the water here, but I kind of think what needs to be done, there are good points in both bills. And hopefully what we can do is just put them together and have one even better bill. And Richard made me aware, which came out at 6 this morning, the fiscal note, which shows a huge fiscal note by a changing of one word in the bill. And we've looked at it, and they just don't have the knowledge. They weren't looking at the substitute. So I think once that's changed, and we join it all together, I think that'll be it. And Chairman Button and I talked about this, and I said, look, I don't care whose bill passes as long as we correct the problem. And so she went and got a sheet for co-sponsors, and I signed hers as a co-sponsor, which you can sit over here. I very rarely do, because I just don't do that. And the reason is because a lot of times when you co-sponsor, you don't have any say on what's being changed or amended or whatever, and you get stuck. And so I got stuck really bad one time. So I very rarely change them. But I was more than willing to do that with her, and we talked about it. And so that's basically what the bill does. And I think you need to take care of the offsite or the forward-looking of it. And here's the chairman now. She knows all the good things that are happening.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
So that's kind of where we are.
Okay, wonderful. That's good to hear. Thank you, Dean Credible. We'll bring you back up in just a minute.
Okay, I'd like to obtain the right to close. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair calls Melissa Munoz. Good morning. We show you registered as Melissa Munoz on behalf of Ryan LLC, and that you are for the bill. Is that correct? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So Melissa Munoz, partner at Ryan LLC, here to speak in support of House Bill 2644. So thank you, Madam Chair and committee, and of course, Speaker Craddock, for putting forward a much-needed piece of legislation. So I worked in the national economic development realm for about 16 years now, and more specific to this conversation with the Texas Enterprise Zone program for the whole length of that time. So very familiar with this program. And I think what's important to just say kind of off the bat is the reason that this program is different than a lot of programs in Texas is that most of the compliance is held up in statute as opposed to general rules. And so that's what makes, when changes need to be made, it very important that we do it in this manner. So under current law, like Speaker Craddock said, there's two ways that an employee can be named a qualified employee for program benefits. The first way is that they work 50% of their time at the physical site of the project. The second way is that they work under the umbrella of a transportation role. So let's say like a delivery driver. And in those instances, because they can't work on site, they are mandated to live within a 50-mile radius of the project site. So of course, during the pandemic, many businesses, including those ones that were in the Texas Enterprise Zone program, were forced to implement a remote work or a hybrid environment. And as a result, many of those taxpayers now couldn't satisfy the requirements of the program. Their employees couldn't work 50% of their time on site. So House Bill 2644, which has been vetted with the Comptroller's Office and the Governor's Office, aims to resolve this issue by amending that definition of qualified employee. It's a very small change, but it means a lot because now it includes employees that work time off-site. More specifically, what it does is it expands that second prong of definition. So now instead of just being limited to transportation employees, essentially any employee who reports to and lives within that 50-mile radius can now be considered a qualified employee. And another important factor to point out is this is now, or would be through this bill, a permanent change. We think that by eliminating the emphasis on percentage of time that's spent at the project site, we are essentially acknowledging that new reality of hybrid and flexible work environments, which is important because businesses that strive to be competitive in today's market have to be flexible, have to offer hybrid to the extent that they can. Certainly there's some roles that simply doesn't work for. But what we think this means for Texas is that when we look at the target industry clusters, we look at biotech, we look at headquarter jobs, we look at corporate arms of the advanced manufacturing and the energy sector, that without a permanent change to this bill, we can, they will be negatively impacted. And I think more importantly, what Speaker Craddock's bill does is by limiting the qualifying factor to a 50-mile radius of the project site, it holds true to the intent of this program, where essentially the original intent of this program was to enhance the taxable base of the local communities that were participating. And so by, again, requiring that radius to be tight, then property tax, sales tax, employment tax, all those remain true to that local jurisdiction. And I know that, Madam Chair, of course, Speaker Craddock mentioned that you've got a bill that aims to provide similar relief. And thank you so much for that, because it's important. It's so important. And that relief that is being offered through both of these bills, I think what the key is that we really need to get to is that good, bad, or worse, this remote hybrid environment is here to stay, at least for the near future. And so to look at it through a permanent lens, which this bill does, provides us a path forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions?
Question.
Yes, please.
Okay. So basically, to summarize your testimony, this is going to be broad for all projects that fall into the enterprise zone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you want this program to continue as it is going forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And basically, we're just clarifying in the statutes, employee and company and the situation that's there. This is what we responded to because of COVID-19. It's worked. We don't want to break something that's working, so we want to just continue with this going forward.
Well, so just to clarify, what we have today is not working, because what we have today does not allow for any flexibility.
But we want that clarification to allow it so that it can go forward.
Yes, the clarification.
Okay, I may have not stated it correct. That's what I meant.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, members, thank you very much.
Of course,
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against HB 2644? The chair recognizes Dean Craddock to close.
Thank you very much. You did a great job of closing for me, Hugh. I think I'll carry with you with me.
You're done?
Basically, I am. But basically, you summed it up. This is just to clarify and to clean it up. We both have a bill, and there are good points both that need to be done. And I don't care which bill we pass as long as we do it and get the problem solved. So, and as I mentioned before she came in, I signed the chairman's bill as a co-author, and if you want to use my number, I'm sure she'll do the same. But and I'm sure she feels the same way I do. Let's just fix the problem, and by combining all the needs in both bills, I think it'll do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Angie.
Actually, Dean, you sign up as my joint author.
Right, I did. And I told them before you got here, I do that very rarely, but I did do that.
I know, I'm honored. Okay, members, any questions for Dean Craddock?
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. The substitute.
No substitute.
No,
HB 2644.
HB 2644 will be left pending at this time.
The chair lays out HB 3374 and offers a committee substitute. The chair recognizes Chairwoman Button to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for acting on my behalf where I had laid out another bill. Members, the original input of the Enterprise Zone program was to encourage businesses to stay, locate, or expand in depressed areas to help revitalize them. The Texas Enterprise Zone Act was established to provide a process that identifies distressed areas and provides incentives by the local and the state government to bring private investment to those areas for the creation and the retention of high-quality jobs. The number of designations of a community can have is limited, as well as the overall number of statewide projects. Enterprise Zone program has several standards of eligibility to ensure that in exchange for the tax rebate, the business is positively contributing to the distressed area. One of those requirements is that a qualifying employee has to perform at least 50% of their work at the business site. This requirement is important to help ensure the benefit is tied to the distressed area. However, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, many businesses had no choice but to have employees that would normally be on site work from home. This has resulted in situations where business who met every required other than the on-site requirement no longer qualify due to no fault of their own. CSHB 3374 provides an exemption of a requirement that an employee perform at least 50% of their services for the business at the qualified business site for a project with a designation period that includes all or a portion of the COVID relief period, which is defined as March 2nd, 2020 through December 31st, 2021. And this legislation provides further clarity that qualified employees must be Texas residents.
Members, any questions for the chairwoman? The chair calls Michael Eckhoff. I apologize. Okay. We show you registered as Michael
Eichhoff.
Eichhoff.
Yes.
Close.
Testifying.
Testifying on behalf of Grant Thornton LLP, and that you are for the bill. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
You can proceed. Thank you.
Okay, Chairperson Button and committee, thank you very much for your time today. Again, my name is Michael Eichhoff. I'm a managing director at Grant Thornton LLP. I serve as our national leader of our credits and incentives function. I have more than 20 years of experience in assisting clients, which sometimes do include state and local governments in matters involving site selection, government subsidies, public policy, and economic development. I'm here today to provide testimony in support of HB 3374. Based in the United States, Grant Thornton is a leading tax audit and advisory firm. We have three offices in Texas, employing about 900 professionals, helping to support Texas communities and businesses. Over my 14 years at Grant Thornton, we have provided services to dozens of clients that have participated in the Texas Enterprise Zone program. Those services include assisting companies with completing applications for the benefit, as well as assisting them through the implementation of the program. Our clients include companies in manufacturing, life sciences, financial services, and the distribution sectors. Over the years, our clients that have participated in the program have made substantial contributions to the state and local economy in Texas through capital investment and job creation. As we've talked about before, the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly impacted the world and our nation. It has changed many aspects of our lives. COVID-19 also had a big impact on how businesses operate, as we all know. It changed the way people work, how they interact with their coworkers, and how businesses attract and retain talent. In March 2020, to limit the transmission of COVID-19 and adhere to various government orders, Many companies, including our clients, transition to work from home models. Today, that has evolved into many companies offering hybrid work arrangements in order to continue to maintain and attract new talent. For many of us, the way we work and the way we offer work to employees has changed dramatically. Prior to COVID-19, each participant in the Texas Enterprise Zone program committed to investing capital, retaining jobs, and creating new jobs in the state of Texas. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, many qualified businesses have continued their contributions to the state. However, the sudden and unprecedented government-directed shift to remote work created unintended consequence for these businesses who would otherwise have remained in good standing. Specifically, to be eligible for the program with benefits, during the 5-year designation period and the subsequent 3 years, employees are required to work at the specified business location more than 50% of the time. Failure to comply with this provision disqualifies the employee from inclusion in an employer's eligibility number, and the company no longer can receive benefits for creating the job or retaining the existing job in Texas. Several large companies have applied for and received TE's enterprise designations for office, administrative, and corporate headquarters locations. Unfortunately, through no fault of their own, these organizations are no longer eligible for the Texas Enterprise Zone of benefits for a sizable percentage of their employee population, as they are now operating in hybrid work environments. These businesses made business decisions to locate in Texas, partly based on the expected benefits from this program. In most cases, these businesses have met or exceeded their capital investment and job commitments. Their ability to receive benefits their inability to receive these benefits creates inequity in the system when compared to other industry and uses such as manufacturing or distribution. The COVID-19 pandemic has had lasting impacts on the workforce and making it impossible for these businesses to claim the full benefits of the Enterprise Zone program. This is why I'm here on behalf of Grant Thornton today to support this temporary relief from the Texas Enterprise Zone 50% work on site requirement as outlined in this bill. I thank you for your time, for the opportunity to present. I'm available for any questions from any member of the committee.
Members, any questions for the witness? Representative Hayes.
Thank you, sir, for coming today. We have two bills that I think are both trying to address this. Have you had an opportunity to look at the House Bill 2644?
Yes, I have.
Okay. To help us who aren't that familiar with the Enterprise Zone, as between this bill, 3374, help me understand the difference, if any, between these two.
Sure. So the other bill is more of a permanent change to the program. The bill that we are supporting is a basically temporary relief during a period of time under which the state and the nation was impacted by COVID. So it would not result in any permanent fix.
Okay, so is there
temporary relief for those, and it's also available retroactively. So companies that were during COVID could apply for this relief versus the other one does not allow. It's more of a go forward.
Do you see the hybrid form of work continuing forward?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, specifically in the office, administrative, corporate headquarters sorts of business operations. You look at LinkedIn or any sort of recruiting site. I mean, it seems like every office admin position is listed as hybrid. I know our own organization struggles to bring people into the office every day. It's now an expectation of the workforce.
Okay, so I like on this bill 3374, the retroactivity provision. Do you also think there should be a permanent fix, as we saw in the 2644?
I think that there's always advantages and disadvantages to permanent fixes. Generally, personally, I think it wouldn't be a bad change. But when I came from a public policy background, when I look at original intent of this program was to create economic development and growth within distressed areas or within certain businesses in certain locations. If you allow for permanency, it takes a little bit away from that, at least in my personal opinion, because you don't have workers on site. Whereas before, those folks were buying, going to the 7-Eleven to purchase things, going to restaurants. Now they're not. And that was my understanding one of the original intentions behind this program was. That's why we were focused on temporary relief.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions? Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against House Bill 3374? Seeing none, the chair recognizes Chairwoman Button to close on the bill.
I close. Thank you.
The substitute is withdrawn, and House Bill 3374 will be left pending at this time.
The chair lays out HB 4993, and chair recognizes Representative Paul to explain the bill.
Thank you, Chair Bunton, members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be with you today and allow me to lay out this bill. The Gulf Coast Authority was created in 1979 to take care of waste for industrial users in our region. It has also been provided professional service financing services and an issue of taxable and tax-exempt bonds on eligible projects. To date, the GCA has issued over $3.95 billion in bonds. HB 4993 allows GCA to expand its authority to serve as a conduit financier for projects in addition to its current authority to finance solid waste, wastewater, water, industrial projects. Recently, GCA has been approached by industries to help provide additional conduit financing supported by user fees for a variety of other uses, primarily focused on broadband, produced waters, renewables, and at-large energy transition projects. With Texas positioning itself to utilize produced water as a potential source of future water supply, and Houston serving as the energy capital of the world, GCA offers a viable financial solution to support industries as new and improved technologies become available. The authority has also been approached to provide similar service to a wide variety of other project types, which are also included in this legislation. Finally, the legislation provides clarification for streamlining approvals of out-of-state financing with authority GCA gained last session. There will be a committee substitute coming in the future. Broadly, since this substitute is not before the committee, the substitute will combine language from another bill, which also will be affecting the board of directors, allowing them to meet virtually. The committee substitute will also clean up some language regarding how the board of directors is selected in Harris County. Members, thank you again for the opportunity to present House Bill 4993. I believe there's a resource witnesses from Gulf Coast Authority here to answer any technical questions.
Thank you, Representative Paul. Members, any questions? Thank you. We'll ask you to come back later.
Okay.
Thank you. The chair calls Elizabeth Fazio Hell. We show you register as Elizabeth Fazio Hell, testify on behalf of Gulf Coast Authority, and you are for the bill. Is it correct?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. It's great to be with you this morning. My name is Elizabeth Fazio Hill, testifying for House Bill 4993. I'm here representing the Board of Directors along with my chairman, Frank Jones, this morning. I'm available for questions. The representative did a great job laying out the bill, and so I'm just open for questions at this time.
Members, any questions? Yes, please.
So how long has the authority been in existence?
The authority has been in existence for over 50 years. We were created in 1969. The financing component was created in 1979. So we have been providing conduit services for over 40 years. We have provided about $3.95 billion in those conduit services through our GCIDA.
Okay. So you're a tax exempt entity?
We are.
Okay. So you're looking for authority. Do you not have authority to issue tax exempt bonds now?
We do currently.
Because
under
I see on the first page here, it's the authority under the Chapter 501 to issue and execute bonds, notes, and obligations.
I believe the original bill language kind of took language that was already in our statute and moved it up, so that's why it's an underline.
That's why it's underlined?
Yes, sir, but we do have that current authority. In fact, the additional language that Representative Paul spoke about talks about training facilities for higher education, our healthcare system, as well as telecommunications and internet. We have that authority currently under 501, but if you've ever worked on bond issuances, bond attorneys like the language to be extremely specific, as does the AG's office. So portion of the bill for our financial authority is to make clarification on what type of projects would qualify under that training facilities, as well as the research and development, and telecommunications.
And that's why I'm asking these questions.
Yes.
What kind of, where's your revenue source?
Our revenue source is from industrial fees.
Industrial what?
Industrial fees?
Industrial fees.
Yes.
So everything you issue are revenue bonds then?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of credit rating y'all currently have?
Oh, gosh, I believe it's a AA minus
Is that without enhancement?
without enhancement.
So you're AA minus without enhancement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against HB 4993? The chair recognizes Representative Paul to close on the bill.
Thank you, Chair Bunt. I appreciate it. I'd be glad to answer any questions if anybody's got any questions or discuss it further with y'all. I know there's some technical stuff there, but appreciate your consideration of our bill.
Members? Okay. HB 4993 will be left pending at this time. Thank you. The chair lays out HB 4451 and recognizes Representative Bajani to explain the bill.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairwoman Button, Vice Chair Ordaz, and members of the committee for the opportunity to lay out House Bill 4451. Our booming Texas economy increasingly depends on a highly educated workforce. Studying in a classroom is crucial, but nothing beats on-the-job training. Apprenticeships serve both employers and job seekers by training workers for well-paying jobs with promising futures. More than 80% of our apprentices are in programs in only one or two industries. Though these trades are in demand in Texas, other key industries help bolster the state's economy with millions of jobs. Members, our state offers a variety of exciting work opportunities, and our workforce is full of students who are ready to roll up their sleeves and get involved. But we cannot effectively legislate on this issue without proper data. HB 4451 will ensure that state-supported apprenticeship programs address both the current and the future workforce needs. This bill requires the Texas Workforce Commissions to work with local workforce development boards in creating an annual legislative report to expand the availability of apprenticeship programs in emerging and high-demand Texas industries. The annual report will include statewide data on the number of active apprenticeship programs, the number of active apprentices, and occupational demand for each industry. This will guide the state's efforts in ensuring Texas programs are responsive to evolving labor market demands. I'm grateful to my colleagues who have signed on to this bill. Thank you, Vice Chair Ordaz, Chairman Clardy, Representative Morales, and Representative Baumgartner. At this time, I would be happy to answer any questions, and I would humbly request the opportunity to close.
Members, any questions? Thank you very much. We'll call you back. The chair calls Courtney Arbor. We show you registered as Courtney Arbor testifying on behalf of Texas Workforce Commission, and you are neutral on the bill. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so please go ahead.
Okay. Courtney Arbor, Workforce Director at TWC. I don't have prepared remarks, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, any? Yes, please.
Is the Workforce Commission already working with local schools and their CTRE programs and what have you in these vocational areas?
We do quite a lot of work with the K-12 system and TEA and the I believe you're talking about the career and technical education programs and those that lead toward a certification either in or just after school. We do provide funds actually for some of the dual credit work, and then we work closely with them. In fact, last session, we had legislation that created an industry-based certification council at the Workforce Commission where we work with industry and reps to help inform TEA on some of their courses that are provided.
How does this legislation enhance what you're already doing?
This legislation creates a report where we would work specifically with the workforce boards and apprenticeships that are available in their area to look where there may be, as I understand it, where there might be gaps and we might.
So this is more reporting than it is implementation of anything,
This is identification of areas where we could expand to new occupations.
or
Correct.
enhance what you're already doing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against the HB 4451? The chair recognizes Representative Bajani to close on the bill.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman. Thank you, Vice Chair Ordaz, and members of the committee for hearing this bill. Great question, Representative Shine. What this bill basically adds is finding out what are the emerging and high-demand industries that we are not having apprenticeship programs. And so this gets all the players on the table, because without the proper data, I don't think we can legislate more effectively, right? Once we have the data and, okay, if we're having 80% of our apprenticeship programs only focus on one or two industries, there's a lot of other industries, for example, like healthcare and information technology, that are not being addressed as effectively for apprenticeship programs. And so maybe we need to cater to that, because that's the trend for the next decade or two. And that as legislators, we should be looking at 10, 20, 30 years from now and seeing what are the careers of the future that we can really have on-the-job training for them. And with that, thank you. I ask for your favorable consideration on this bill, and I would close.
Hold on, Representative Claudia has a question.
Sure, yes.
Thank you, Representative Bajani. Am I correct in understanding this is your first bill to lay out in this committee?
It is, yes.
All right, and so I just want to explore a few things with you.
Sure.
There's a custom here to ask tough questions of freshmen.
Absolutely.
I've heard, I didn't get to catch your layout, but Christina's told me it wasn't that impressive. So, but I understand, as you recall, my son and you practiced law together.
I did.
At Haynes and Boone back in the day.
Yes, sir.
And I was with him this weekend.
Okay.
And he shared with me certain pertinent information that I expect to reveal at an appropriate time. I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up on that. You might want to search your soul, consider what's occurred. Do you remember, I think you went there straight out of law school, correct?
I did, yes.
So you remember when you passed the bar?
Yes.
All right, and usually there's a tradition in law firms when somebody passes the bar, the members of the firm that just passed the bar will go celebrate together. Do you remember that event being in any way memorialized, perhaps by photography or video?
Maybe. It was a really stressful time in my life, though.
Okay.
I was
it's
certainly,
about to be
yeah.
more stressful.
Okay.
So we will look forward to your bill on the floor. We can actually explore this in more detail, Madam Chairman. Thank you for your indulgence, but congratulations on your first bill. I'll be voting against it. I think I'm actually a co-author.
Yes, sir. You actually.
But it's not the first time I've voted against a bill I've joined author.
Okay.
As this committee knows. So thank you for being here, Salma.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your comments.
Oh, thank you very much. And the HB 4451 will be left pending at this time.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So there will be videos supporting.
The chair lays out the HB 1113, and you don't have to go down to save time. You can just yeah. And offers a committee substitute. The chair recognizes Representative Meza to explain the bill.
I just speak so much better standing up, but I'll try to do a good job sitting down. Thank you, Madam Chair, for hearing this bill. I need to put on my.
I got you. There you go.
Can we use that one? I'll scoot over a little bit. Texas is a state that's known for its economic significance and its entrepreneurial spirit. However, there's a significant population of individuals with physical and mental disabilities who face unique challenges when it comes to employment and starting their own businesses. These individuals require additional support and resources, which can be difficult to access. Moreover, many of them face discrimination and stigma, which can make it challenging to secure a loan. Someone looks at them and just because of their disability thinks they're not able to do that business or that job. So this committee, with a sub for HB 1113, will create a grant program housed within TWC for entrepreneurs with disabilities. This program would provide financial support to individuals with disabilities who are looking to start their own businesses. By doing so, Texas would be helping to promote entrepreneurship and economic growth among a population that is often overlooked. The Texas Workforce Commission would be responsible for administering the grant program, utilizing existing funds, and setting eligibility requirements. The TWC would also be allowed to solicit and accept gifts, grants, and donations to support this program. This bill would not only help entrepreneurs with disabilities to achieve their dreams, but also contribute to the state's economy in a meaningful way. The passage of HB 1113 would establish a grant program that provides financial support to entrepreneurs with disabilities who wish to start their own businesses. This bill would help to address unique challenges faced by this population, promote entrepreneurship, and contribute to the state's economy. I urge you to support this bill, help create a more inclusive and prosperous Texas. Thank you for consideration, and I reserve the right to close.
Thank you. Members, any questions?
You have witnesses?
Yes, quite a few. Okay. Thank you. We'll call you back.
There is no video.
The chair calls Lauren Gherkin. We show you registered. It takes you time, but I'm just doing my, required, okay. We show you registered as Lauren Gherkin, testify on behalf of Texas Council of Developmental Disabilities, and that you are neutral on the bill. Is this correct?
It is correct, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And please go ahead, and thank you for visiting our office the other day.
Absolutely. Thank you for being so open to visit. Thank you, everyone. I won't restate all of that, but I've had the pleasure working with Representative Meza on this bill for quite a while. As she mentioned, people with disabilities do face significant barriers in entering the workforce. They face basic discrimination based on their disability. They face barriers in terms of limited access to experience and education that allows them to enter competitive work environments. But they have a great entrepreneurial spirit, and many people with disabilities pursue self-employment and small business launching to address the fact that they're facing discrimination and increase flexibility for themselves so that they can work around doctor's appointments or chronic pain or chronic fatigue. So owning their own business gives them the opportunity to work around themselves. And we have seen in Texas especially that when people with disabilities launch their own business, they hire other people with disabilities. So not only are they creating development for themselves, they're creating development for others in their community as well. The concept of a grant program would address a gap in current services and funding opportunities to address the fact that people with disabilities are starting below the bar because they have a disability and there are no stigmas and barriers for them. There are services and supports, but they are limited in what funding can be used for, and this grant would create another avenue for a more general audience of people with disabilities to be able to launch their own business, give back to the economy, open up careers, and even come off of public benefits and engage in the Texas economy in a more meaningful way. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions if y'all have any.
Members, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Excellent
Madam Chair.
testimony. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The chair calls Beverly Hamilton. We show you registered as Beverly Hamilton, testifying on behalf of yourself, and you are for the bill. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dr. Beverly Hamilton. I'm a nonprofit executive and educator, mom to a disabled son, and a graduate of the Texas Department for Disabilities Partners in Policy program. I have a history of working with underprivileged entrepreneurs and helping them get set up for success. And this is exactly the kind of program that Texas can use. 8 in 10 people with disabilities in the United States are not even in the labor force. Wow. So self-employment can happen and does happen at a higher rate for those with disabilities compared to the general population. So this is the kind of program where really you're going to end up paying yourself because if people have an opportunity who have a disability who can provide flexible support for themselves, getting the accommodations that they need by managing their own workflow, workspace, then these are going to be people less reliant on other public assistance. So I would encourage you to really consider this bill. It's important to be able to provide some of these other avenues around these systemic barriers. And you know, all the other great testimony we heard today for these other apprentice programs and things, those are things that most of the people I know with disabilities aren't able to take advantage of. So I thank Representative Mesa and the committee for considering, and happy to answer any questions from my multifocal points of having administered programs like this on behalf of the State Department here in the U.S. and around the world, also as a mom to a disabled son and as an educator.
Members, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. The chair calls Susie Palacio. Good morning.
Good morning.
We show you registered as Jesusa Susie Palacios, testifying on behalf of Solomon's Porch, Lai, and yourself. And then you are for the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I think I want to thank the committee for allowing me to speak. It's times like this that I wish I were a little taller. And I also would like to appreciate Representative Mesa and my representative, Mr. Cunningham, for allowing me to come and speak to you on behalf of individuals with disabilities. I brought some clients of mine that joined Solomon's Porch. Solomon's Porch is a nonprofit organization in Humboldt, Texas. We specifically opened our doors really, though, during COVID 2020. The reason being, moms were going bananas at home with their children with disabilities that didn't have any outlets. Adults with disabilities that didn't have any outlets. I'm also a human resource manager by trade, but I adopted a little boy with disabilities. And at the age of 14, we began to think, what is Jonathan going to do when the school bus stops coming? So at age 14, we started a plan for Jonathan. We worked with individuals in the community. We worked with individuals at school, our own family support that said, what are we going to do? So we started our own self-support group. And our goals were to clarify what would Jonathan be able to do instead of placing him in a job, which I was told he was not being able to be placed in a position. What could we do? So Solomon's Porch Light came into creation because of Jonathan to say, okay, he's got a talent. He loves music. He loves being outdoors. He loves being around people. and he loves being in a vehicle all day long. So the committee that we started for Jonathan said, have you ever thought about an ice cream truck for him? It worked. 2 summers, we practiced with him. We could not get him out of the truck. That's how great it was. So that only told me that they have talents, even when people don't give them the opportunities. They're passionate about it. You won't ever see them being late. You won't ever see them not committed to what they want to do. As a matter of fact, they'll tell you, leave me alone, I want to do it by myself. So they do have that passion to do something, to be responsible, to contribute to the community. These 3 individuals opened up their own animal shelter because they loved animals. They opened up shredding business with employees because he could only move one hand. And when his mom was little, she saw him doing this. But he was attuned to the shredder in her office. So mom one day gave him the paper, and every time he shredded, he just burst into laughter. He loved doing it. The business on Shredding and Go was created. I have an artist came to me that, and as a matter of fact, y'all might know Grand Marnier. He creates beautiful artwork with puzzle pieces. As a matter of fact, I think he created the Texas flag in this building somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. But they do have an ambition. So parents started coming to me and say, what can I do with my child? What can I do when he gets out of school? So we started a program at Solomon's Porch. We contracted with the Small Business Administration who does Training 101, and I'm talking 101, 101, 101, because sometimes they need care and time to explain to the individual. Last year, we created a mentorship program in Humble, Texas, that could take some of these individuals and see if what they want to do is really what they want to do. There's a client in my organization that's a baker. So we found a bakery that could take him, no cost to the bakery, because they were mentoring him. And he loves to bake, make his bread, do his cupcakes. So now mom and dad could invest. But mom and dad don't have all the funding to buy the equipment, the supplies they need, especially nowadays with prices being so high. So I just want to, every time I see Representative Mesa, I want to hug her. Because I was introduced to this bill, and you too, right? I mean, I just want to hug her.
About me too?
Because she actually wrote this bill. I remember coming, and Laura introduced me to it in 2014. 2014, Jonathan was still in school, my son. But that's when we really started preparing. Hey, there's something there that could help us. So, so here I am today asking you to really consider this bill. Our individuals, once they get out of high school, what do? So this bill would help parents to try to get them in that track through training, through just having the patience to deal. And our mentorship program, now we only started it in our city of Humble. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with Humble, but we only have 7,000 residents there. But we're very near to Kingwood. We're very near to New Caney. And those areas have started programs for individuals that are getting out of high school.
Thank you very much.
That's just
appreciate
one.
It. Yeah, we
so thank you for allowing me to speak
so
today.
We try to finish this bill. We'll have a.
I understand.
10 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you
so
very
thank
much.
You, Dr. Mesa.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. No more questions. Okay. The chair calls Joe Carr. We show you registered as Joe Carr. Testify on behalf of Serenity Kids, Inc. and yourself, and you are for the bill. Is it correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Please go ahead.
Awesome. Good morning. It's great to be here. My name is Joe Carr. I am autistic, and I'm the co-founder and president of Serenity Kids Baby Food. My wife and I started it about 6 years ago. Today, we are the nation's fastest selling and fastest growing baby food. We're in over 14,000 stores nationwide. We have 30 employees, some of which have disabilities or children with disabilities. We source meat from Texas ranchers and make the most nutrient-dense baby food in the world, really. It's been a lot of challenges. We've grown over 78% year over year. So a lot of challenges with growth, but also a lot of challenges just with the economy and with the challenges I face as an autistic person. Growing up, I had a difficult childhood. I had a really big energy. I would take over a room, take over a classroom that teachers didn't really like and kids didn't really like. So I had to overcome a lot of social challenges and adversity. And I was also not a very good employee. Mostly because I was always trying to make things better. Like I've always saw when there could be change. Autism gives me a very blunt personality and expression style, and my bosses just didn't like being told how they could do their job better. So I was fired from most of the jobs that I had. Led me into entrepreneurialism. About 12 years ago, I became an entrepreneur and starting companies. Started 2 previous businesses prior to this one, both of which failed largely because of the lack of economic resources. We've never been able to qualify for loans, public or private, due to the lack of collateral. Our current company was started on investor capital. Due to the size of idea, we were able to raise investment, but also required that we gave away a lot of the company. So had we had better access to loans, we would have held on to more ownership, and possibly some of my other previous companies might have made it. So autism continues to bring challenges, but there's a lot of advantages in entrepreneurialism that is brought for me. My big ideas, my think outside the box, my willingness to try to make things better led us to create a new and innovative kind of baby food, experiment with new and innovative kinds of marketing that have allowed us to compete with other very large companies. My blunt expression style is useful as a leader and as a boss, where I'm able to really tell my staff how it is and really build a strong team. And so I really think this bill would be really helpful for entrepreneurs like me that need a little bit of boost and can get some support to launch their ideas, but also really good for the economy. The severe underemployment rate is a real loss to the economy. People like me, our ideas, people that aren't able to overcome all the economic challenges, even this economic environment's even harder than when we started. And so I think that this bill could really help boost the economy, bring some of the energy and ideas that people like me have, as well as support people with disabilities. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And the chair calls Mary Yoke. We show you registered as Mary Yoke, testifying on behalf of Texas Workforce Commission, and you are neutral on the bill. Is this correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, so go ahead and ask.
I have 3 questions for you, please, ma'am. We have other existing programs that you're doing loans for through the Workforce Commission.
Currently, TWC does not administer any loan programs.
So this
we have
bill
grant
is to
programs.
grant you that authority to do this.
Yes, sir.
Where would you get the money?
Well, the bill lays out that we would be able to accept gifts, grants, and donations.
All right, so your corpus is going to come from gifts, grants, and donations.
That is how it is laid out in the bill.
Okay, and can you define what a low-interest loan is on a percentage of cost?
I think that is something we would work out. How we anticipate administering this program, should it be approved by the legislature and the governor, is to work with a CDFI in order to determine the terms of the loans.
Okay, those are just questions I have because, number one, since you don't do this currently, that when we start talking about where the money comes from, we're going to generate loans. How sustainable is this program? Because we don't want to create false expectations to a group of disabled individuals that are trying to establish businesses where they think they may have a resource to go to, but that resource isn't really there. I guess simple words is I don't want to give lip service to something that people feel like is a good idea, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Okay. All right. You've answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, no, he's good. Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on for or against HB 1113? The chair recognizes Representative Mesa to close on the bill.
Well, thank you. Thank you to all the witnesses who came to testify on behalf of the bill. I think they were a much better voice than what I said when I laid out the bill. My words about the bill, what they had to say, putting their face and their story to how this bill would help them, I think was much more powerful than anything that I had to say. So thank you so much to all the witnesses. You were great. And so I ask for your support for the bill, and with that, I close.
Members, any more questions? The substitute. Okay. Yes, please. Yeah, please be quick.
The wording in the bill says establish a grant program.
Yes.
What we're hearing, though, is it's a low-interest loan. When I hear the word grant, I'm thinking you're just giving people money. Where, loan, of course, you're repaying. So I'm trying to rectify those two word selections, grant or loan.
Well, in the caption for the bill, it says low-interest loan program, but in the wording in the bill, it talks about a grant, doesn't it? So we'll go by the wording in the bill.
All right, so you might want to have another visit to work out the details.
Okay.
Okay, members, any questions? Oh, the substitute is withdrawn, and HB 1113 will be left pending at this time. Members, we do still have one bill on the agenda. The Committee on International Relations and Economic Development will recess until final adjournment or recess of the House or during reading and the referral of bills if permission is granted. See you this afternoon. Thank you.